Why you no talk?
Because there's nobody there. I'm here.
Did you pick up the wrong mic? What the hell? Tap it or something?
Hello? Oh, there it is. Okay.
I'm glad we did that.
Well, nobody's saying shit.
No, I mean you tapping the mic.
Have you seen any comments yet?
I can't load it on mine.
Oh.
I don't see any yet.
Well, it just started.
And this image doesn't even come in clear. What's wrong with my computer? Is it stupid already?
No, I have the same problem. I need to figure out what. I think something needs to be downloaded or something. Been getting that on.
Danny Olkers wrote something. Danny, how soon do you write? Hey, if you want to talk to the guys, call 866-522-2846.
I usually write it during the first segment.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it's usually one of the last things I see. So I wonder if I'm answering people in reverse order. I go in there at the end of the show. Not the end, but sometimes later that day. And that's usually one of the last things. And I was like, Pinchy, Danny, you should be saying that early in the show.
I think I've said it a couple of times. Like, I have said it in the second hour a couple times, so maybe that's why. Mm-hmm. But I usually try to put it in the first segment, just because, like, normally when we were live, I would always put it up in the first segment.
Danny, do you know what Beanchy Danny means?
I do not know that.
It didn't go well in your favor.
Oh.
We'll be talking about UFC on Fox 23 today. It took place this past Saturday in Denver. The card was headlined by Valentina Shevchenko and Juliana Pena. Valentina Shevchenko submitted Juliana Pena. Now, that was a huge upset. Mm-hmm. There's no way anyone took that. And I know Valentina.
Think the sharp people took it.
When Valentina. Well, the sharp people said it would end within the distance.
No, I'm saying the sharp people had submission as an option. If you look at her record, she's got a lot of submissions early on.
She hasn't submitted anyone in 11 years.
But she's got a lot on the record.
She
knows it. She trains it.
I guess. The impressive thing is Juliana's good at submissions, so you'd think she'd be good at defending submissions. I mean, it was a slick armbar there. I can't take that away from her.
Valentina got out of one, too.
And Valentina said during our interview, and I think we got lumped in to some comments she made after the fight. She said a lot of media were asking her primarily about her striking, and she kept saying, I'm a complete martial artist, and she did tell us that. Mm-hmm. So I think when I worded the question to her, I said, many out there are saying this is a...
Yeah.
But I was hiding behind that. I felt like it was a striker versus grappler matchup. I mean, most of them are. Have you ever heard when Joe Rogan goes, in this fight, you got the classic. I'm thinking every fight almost seems that way. There's usually
it's starting to go away, though.
There's usually like 3 or 4 that are the classic grappler versus striker. But I get it. Joe's got a tough job because you run out of adjectives to describe a fight. He's terrifying. He's death-defying. He's a destroyer. Mm-hmm. He's amazing. He's world-class. So, anyway, my point, one thing I did say, though, was how much did Valentina close the gap on Juliana as far as a grappler versus Juliana closing it as a striker? And I did side with Valentina there. That doesn't mean I thought she'd submit her. I just thought it meant she can survive the ground. Maybe she can take it to the ground. Maybe be offensive, from a top position. I did not see it in a million years ago.
I bet that's
just going for the submission. But, God, I mean, she sent a message to Nunes. Now Nunes has to say, now Nunes probably thought, okay, address the cardio, strike with Valentina, maybe get her down. But she actually has to worry about stuff going forward.
I bet Valentina wished she would have kept that ace up her sleeve.
I was wondering that too. But Valentina doesn't seem to be in fear of anything.
Yeah. But it would have been nice, right? All right.
She's a straight up gangster.
All right, guys. Coming up at 10.
Joining us here will be Kevin Lee in like 8 seconds.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
All right, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host. Back east, handling all the producing duties, it's Danny, and sitting to my right, it's UFC lightweight Kevin Lee, our co-host for the day. What's up, Kevin?
What's going on? What's going on? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
With a fight booking and everything.
I know, right? See, I bring presents with me. So, last time I kind of screwed that up, being on the show. It's New Year's in Vegas. Was that when you lost
your phone, or?
No, seriously. Somebody stole a brand new iPhone 7 Plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I just thought you were
I waited
hungover.
forever. No, somebody stole it, like, for real.
Okay.
A girl in a club stole it. So
Really?
New Year's at Vegas.
Did you leave it behind and she just took it, or did she actually pick
No. She actually let me see your phone, and then I handed her my phone. And she walked away. Yeah. I mean I was drunk too. I ain't gonna lie. So I kind of kind of did something else. I'm like, here, yeah, sure, you can see it, and did something else, and then she walked away.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah, I know.
It's that easy, huh?
Oh, when I find her, it's a wrap.
That's awesome. That was her strategy.
Did you
But
call?
yeah,
Did you have somebody call her?
Vegas
call your
and
own
New
phone and
Year's.
say, "Hey, you dumb."
Yeah,
whatever.
I had Find My iPhone on it, and eventually, after 2 or 3 weeks, somehow they turned off the Find My iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know how the fuck you do that.
No, but did you send her a text saying, "I'm looking for your ass"?
Yeah, but it was offline. It wouldn't let you
Okay.
do it. I don't know if she put it on airplane mode or what. These
So
folks, they know
someone
what
just
they're
said,
doing.
"Let me see your phone." Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Fucking idiot.
That's that's probably that might be the oldest trick in the book.
I know. I'm a fucking idiot. But hey, it's water under the bridge now.
Did you
had
have the insurance? Oh,
Had
you did?
insurance, so I got a brand new one.
I like their little cute insurance. Even they have the deductible. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
stupid,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Deductibles are
It's like you already
Scam.
pay every month, and then when it happens, you're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, but only
My
$200
fucking phone,
deductible.
my
so.
fucking car, this, that, whatever, and then you still have to deal with the deductible. Just
That's a
throw the
bitch.
deductible in from the beginning and let me know where I stand, because the minute something goes wrong, I just want to know I got your back.
Yeah.
You call State Farm or you call Apple or you call whoever and you go, "This happened," and they go, "We fucking got your back, man. Get your ass in here and pick out your new phone or go shop for a new car." That's why you've been kind of getting stuck every month a little bit. But guess what? Today's your day.
If only.
No, it doesn't work like that. You lose your fucking phone or you crash your car, and that's when you call. My neck is tweaked, and what do I do? I didn't take pictures. This person says they have no insurance, and they just go, "We don't care. We just want to know if you got that deductible. Send us that deductible." And then all of a sudden we'll send the tow truck, and we'll start fixing your shit. Oh, God, really, really pisses me off. You know what's even worse? When somebody goes, "Hey, what do you think of this brand new TV, man? It's fucking legit. It's got it all. Brand new. It's 4K, 3D, 60, HD,
Yep,
whatever.
yep,
it's
yep,
badass. You
yep.
want it? Yeah, I'll take it." You talk me into it. And they go,
Yep.
"Should it break down, we have this little warranty. It's $19.99 a month, because you never know shit. You just sold it.
Yeah,
you sold me
yeah,
on the
yeah.
fact that it's brand new. It's the greatest thing ever.
Why do I need
It's
a
going to be
year
your
warranty?
TV for 10 years, but just in case something goes wrong,
You need a
give
year
us an extra
warranty.
$20. Yeah.
Yeah.
The extended.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
good for
yeah.
90 days, but anything happens after that, this thing's like 4Gs, man. You got to buy a new one. It's like,
Yeah.
happens with everything.
Condoms should have a extended warranty or a warranty, right?
They should.
Hey,
yeah,
bust.
I
We
guess
got
you
you.
can.
We got you.
I pay that. Extra $10.
Just head on over to the clinic.
Hey,
If
you know,
only,
it's
if
like
only,
resort
but
fees
not in
too,
Trump's
right?
America.
Resort fees.
That's
yeah.
the same thing. Deductibles. Like, everybody's getting cute now.
Resort fees.
Yeah, they're gonna find their best way to get it about you.
Actually,
this
let me
is
put
Trump's
this
America
in front
now.
of you, because we might be getting cute later.
Oh, you know what else too
Yeah.
is when you go to a restaurant and they go, "All right, this is the meal. But if you want to upgrade that meat to something else, it's an extra $3. Everybody's doing it now.
Are they?
You never done
I've
that?
only seen
Like
it once at the Peruvian
Inca
food.
Mama's does that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was only $3, and it did say from whatever to
They do it with fish, too.
filet or something like that.
Yeah, they're going to upsell you,
And
and
they
I'm
make
kind
you
of the
feel
worst
like
on
whatever
that
you
shit.
ordered was – that's kind of the bullshit one if you really want a good one. What are you going to do? Go, nah, I want the bullshit one?
I am so easy to get talked into shit like that. Like when you go into a store and somebody upsells you, I always just buy it. Like,
I'm kind of
like,
a sucker too.
They can tell me anything. They can be like, this will cure cancer. I'd be like, all right, fuck it, I'll buy it. Like let me. They can tell me literally anything. They say like, this is only like 0.1% better, and it costs $100 more. I'll be like, all right, sure, yeah, sounds good.
I get talked into a lot of shit too, man. All right,
the
so
life we live.
UFC on Fox 23 took place this last weekend. So did Bellator 171. However, I believe the bulk of what we'll talk about today is UFC on Fox 23. Valentina Shevchenko submitted Juliana Pena. I still can't believe I'm saying that. Anybody that, if somebody predicted that, wow, mad respect. Mad respect. I thought Valentina could survive the ground and get it back to the feet and either, KO her or win a decision. I also felt like maybe Pena had some skills where she could survive on the feet, but eventually she couldn't do it for too long. What I didn't envision was Pena knocking out Shevchenko and Shevchenko not submitting Pena.
Yeah,
she's damn it happened.
She is very underrated, but overall, Shevchenko, I think she's one of the best fighters in the world. I'll pay to watch her fight Amanda Nunes 10 times in a row. I think they're going to have a great fight when they go back. But she is very underrated. She keeps good position, and pretty much you saw when she had her pinned up against the cage, she's just waiting, keeping good position. That shows somebody that's like very, very experienced. I think she's got like 400 something fights in Muay Thai, like something crazy like that.
Well, yeah, she's like 59-1 or 59-2, and then maybe there's that.
And then a lot of amateur fights, So she's got a crazy amount of experience, and especially when it comes to women's MMA, experience trumps all. That's why Ronda was beating those girls for so long, because she had that judo experience and that competing at a high level, and Shevchenko's got that. And I think I don't know, in a 5-round fight, I'm taking her versus Amanda, so it's gonna be a damn good fight.
A lot of people said the same thing because they did it once, and that third round was great for Valentina. The first two weren't, but this one will go 25. Now, to the champ's credit, her cardio seems to be better in these other fights, but then again, the last couple have gone quickly too. So,
man, I ain't gonna lie, I was just happy to see Pena lose. I don't know. I usually don't hate on I usually don't hate somebody for talking a lot of shit, and because that's what you got to do. You got to build the fight. You got to do what you got to do. But I hated the way she approached it, the whole shit talking, and she made it like she was the second coming of Jesus or something. And she tried to put down everybody. I can't stand when okay, if you're a fighter and you're gonna talk shit about somebody, okay, but don't put down other people's accomplishments. You know what I mean? She tried to sweep what Ronda did underneath the rug, and I think this was karma coming back at her.
As far as MMA or judo?
As far as MMA, she's saying that Ronda's been running from her for however long, and it's like, this fucking ridiculous. Why would Ronda run from Ronda beat the girls that you lost to, so it wouldn't.
Huh. I just
didn't respect her approach.
I did hear that she overdid it. I of course love the trash talk, so I didn't mind it because I knew it was building it up. But like I said, two people built. If you do talk some trash, get ready to eat crow,
baby.
Yeah. Did you guys notice Valentina's demeanor, just her breathing? She never seemed like she was panicking at all, and I think she was being chill because she knew Juliana was going to run out of gas. Juliana didn't get there very early. Valentina was there for almost 2 months.
She rented a house for a month, yeah.
For a long time. That's a long time to be in Colorado. I mean, that's taking it serious. I think she felt that.
That's that experience, That's that experience competing at the high level for a long time, and being calm in there is very hard to do, especially early in your career. I think Juliana's only got 7, 8 fights, and I don't know her record, but I know she's got less than 10 fights. You're going to get somebody who, has been competing at a high level for a very long time. It's hard to go up against.
I loved how she timed, when they were clinched up and Juliana was throwing them knees, those takedowns. Those were beautiful. Really, really slick. Brian Stan was pointing those out. Pena adjusted, started throwing, the opposite knee, but they were clinching for a long time. I thought there were times where Valentina could have pulled away and got back into a striking position, but she must have been just as interested in it too. maybe she felt something where she was like in control. But then she almost gets armbarred in the first round. And I thought, ooh, stop playing with fire. You know what I mean? You're killing my parlay here. And I'll be damned she submitted her. I still can't believe that.
What do you guys think? It's Monday. What does Juliana Pena do when she goes back to the drawing board? Because she's been pretty successful up until this moment. But there are a couple things that you could point to and say, all right, well, she just moved to Chicago, new camp. Did she look any different to you? Was she...
I don't know. I didn't get to see much of her camp. I just saw like the little, right before the fight, they kind of showed her, and she was kind of like training with like high schoolers. It looked like in there. It's like they had like 6 or 7 people, and like 2 of them were like high school students, and they're training like some weirdo like take a back from side control. I don't know. I don't know if she has a good camp behind her. I haven't heard of any major camps in Chicago. I'm in Chicago a lot. I'm in there training a lot, and.
You know where Ben Rothwell trains? He comes down and trains with, I forget Luis's last name, but he talks highly of him. They share the same Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach. I just don't know the name of the gym. But Ben's always bragging about his go-go choke, and he learned it from that team.
I'd like to understand the mindset, though, because, Kevin, if you get a loss, it's very difficult not to want to go back and kind of reinvent the wheel, right? Sometimes it's just tweaking a few things, but that's difficult for a fighter, right? Because it's tough to take a loss.
Yeah.
How do fighters take that?
I think everybody approaches it different. For me, I always try and like be honest with myself and like, okay, what am I doing that I fucked up? You're gonna have those moments in your career where you're gonna do that. Like you're gonna have those moments where you just realize you aren't doing everything that you should be doing. And does that mean you have to go and change everything? Not always, After my UFC debut, that's what I did. I came out here to Vegas after that fight because I realized I wasn't training right. I was just doing things on my own. I didn't have.
Iaquinta fight?
Yeah, okay. After the Iaquinta fight. To get ready for the Iaquinta fight, I had, my trainer. He would hold pads for me. I would get on the bag. I would run. I would get into shape, but I wasn't really like building my overall skill set and my overall knowledge. So that's why I moved out here. But I lost again, and it just the second time was only minor changes that I needed to make mentally, internally. So it kind of depends. For her, I feel like she needs a big change because it seems like she kind of approached the fight wrong, But I could be wrong. I don't know. So she only she knows. Only you know. That's the bad thing.
Even though it went into the second round, we kind of just didn't see much other than them clinching for
I think that was
seemed to be like 6 minutes of the fight.
I think that was her strategy, but she didn't offer much offense,
Right.
The only offense she offered was just the knees,
Right.
You got to make the girl work. She was just sitting there chilling the whole time, and you got to make her work if you're going to hold her up against the fence and hope
so she needs to drill more wrestling, honestly.
Yeah, it seemed like she was just
holding her. She did drop down for a double. She couldn't get that, or did she? I can't remember. But I remember she got a takedown, and Valentina popped up quickly. So maybe pull the foot out a little bit when she was, inside of her guard.
It just didn't.
I mean, that was an error. So you're right, Goes. How's she dealing with? Is she coming back going tactical error? I'll never make it again. Or am I just not as good as I thought I was, and we really need to work submission defense? Or
well, what I'm hitting on is she's been doing so well up until this point, and she just moved camps for this fight. So is she going to sit back and go, all right, the blame should be on me at the end of the day, or is she going to go, maybe I shouldn't have made that move? That's what it was. Like, how does she assign? Where is she going to assign the blame on this? And I think Kevin, you pointed out to. I think at the end, it's always got to be on the fighter. It just always has to.
I think what happened was
there are things that help out.
She fell in love with some dude from Chicago, a Chicago cop. So when she moved there, I think it was convenient that a camp that she had worked with previously was in the area. So I think the camp change was coming. Now, training partners, one thing, I don't know.
One thing horror movies will teach you is love will get your ass killed. You always get killed when you with the girlfriend or boyfriend. True. So if she gonna chase that, then best of luck to her.
I'm looking at the chat, and a lot of people are saying, "Man, I'm glad she lost."
Really?
So I don't know if they were.
I was too.
I don't know if they were. If same thing, Kevin was feeling just like, "Hey, enough already. That's too much," because we've had her on the show, and she's animated. She gives a good interview. But there are times where I feel like, we get it. You're a badass. You're selling the fight. But now just dial it down and let's finish the
Yeah,
interview.
yeah, it's a time and place for everything, especially on, you guys got one of the best shows in MMA.
Thank you.
You guys, but you cater to the hardcore fans. The people listening right now are fans of the sport. They aren't like casual. You can't go around and you can't go on you guys' show and say, oh, Ronda Rousey ain't never done nothing, because the people listening to this show right now
Right. That's a good point.
know the history.
You go on a morning show and you can get away with that.
You go on Ellen DeGeneres and do that because Ellen don't know shit about fighting. She'll say, hey, what's it like to get punched in the face?
Right. She'll go, oh, wow, I don't want that. And then everyone fucking laughs.
Yeah,
Like,
and then
it's
everybody's having a
hilarious
good
point.
time. So you can say whatever the fuck you want on Ellen or Jimmy Fallon or something like that. But if you go on this show, or if you go on, fuck Ariel, so I ain't gonna say Ariel. But you go on a good show, then you can't, you got to be real with yourself. You got to be real with the people too, and people sense bullshit real quick. So
When people do that, though, the one thing that I look at in fighters is, do they believe it? Does it sound like what they're saying? Do they believe it? Like, there's times when Connor says stuff and you got to go, all right, he doesn't really mean that shit. He's just saying it. But there's other fighters that when they're saying it, you go, it may sound a little crazy to me, but I can tell that person believes what they're saying right now.
Yeah. All right. So Gavin McGarren was saying Pena needed some humble pie. Tony Clark was saying, I won't lie, I was happy Pena lost. So Shevchenko now moves on. They already brought the champion, so there is no discussing it. That is a title fight that will happen unless somebody's injured, and didn't look to be the case. Valentina said she'd fight her tonight if she gets a chance, but how soon? I don't know. Valentina Shevchenko versus Amanda Nunes. That will be a rematch of a fight they had a year or two ago, which Shevchenko lost, but she hasn't lost since then. And, of course, Nunes has become a world champion who has defended the title. Dana White spoke incorrectly when asked by the media afterwards. He said, well, listen, hit the brakes, I think he said. No going up to 45. We need a title defense first. She just defended against Rousey. But it is her only one defense, and I think what he meant was give us some title defenses, and then we'll talk about that.
Or at least let Holly or Jermaine
yeah,
defend the title.
That can't be a draw. They're going to have a fourth round, right? Mm-hmm. Or actually, sorry.
It's gonna be
that
five.
That's a 5-round fight where if it's announced as a draw, they'll have to go, right?
I've never heard of that.
No, I think it would end. I would end like you're talking about like what happened with Demetrius and Ian.
Those
right?
were 3-round fights because it was a tournament.
Yeah, I think that was a tournament, so it's a little different. They wanted a winner to
what
the
will
tournament.
They do that night?
I think they just go again. Just like Steven and Tyrone.
But there you have a champion.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Huh. We'll
I don't think that's ever
happened
happened before.
Jorge Masvidal defeated Donald Cerrone. Wow, what a performance by Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
I mean, early on, I thought Cowboy was kind of getting into his groove. Threw like 3 leg kicks right at the front leg. Mm-hmm. And you could see, the leg was getting red. A couple to the body. George had to block a couple. George was also firing back. But I was thinking, don't let this guy get into his groove. Otherwise, it really is going to be a long night. And Cowboy blasted some welterweights out there. And then all of a sudden, George just exploded and became the fighter everyone's always wanted him to become, aggressive. And look what it led to. I mean, he beat him twice. He beat him once in the first, once in the second. Obviously, I'm joking. I thought Herb missed it, but they said it was so loud in that arena that I think it was just a mistake. I really don't think it's anybody trying to pull a fast one. But if you go back and rewind, his stopping it comes before the bell. Mm-hmm. So they go back out, and he stopped him again.
Yeah. I mean, Jorge's a very, very good. He just, like you say, he doesn't pull the trigger much, but it was a bad stylistic matchup for Cerrone in the first place. I always thought, because Cerrone's a very emotional fighter. So if you can steal a little bit of his energy away, then he just, it just keeps going and keeps going. It's like a snowball effect. I think once he came out there, he checked a few kicks. Cerrone had his moments, but once Jorge started putting those hands on him, you could see the energy, the bar level of Donald Cerrone. I don't know. I don't really like Donald's approach to the game much. He doesn't really watch tape.
Fighting or no tape?
He don't watch tape. He kind of like don't really like respect the guy. I don't know if he's just saying that or if he really is like that. But a part of me feels like he really just doesn't like give a fuck. He's just like, all right, well, if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. It's whatever. But he doesn't really like approach the fight like a fight. When you fight somebody like Jorge's gonna be in your face, and he's you got to approach him with the right game plan. You can't just go out there like, oh, I'm just gonna throw kicks until he goes down. Like, no, you're gonna gonna get your ass whooped. And I think that's why that's what emotional fighters do. And as long as you keep stealing their energy away from them, they're a piece of cake.
Jorge called it, right? I mean, he's been calling that for that
Easy
fight
money,
for the longest
easy
time.
Fights or something like that.
He went in and did exactly what he said he was going to do. And then afterwards, when he got the mic, he was good on the mic. And the one thing that stood out for me is I have a friend.
Well, what's with the 200K though? The bad.
Well, now that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
I have a buddy who's just kind of, he's an MMA fan, but he's not watching every card. He's not going on the websites. However, he brought up the fight and he couldn't remember his name. So you know what he said? The guy that asked for $200,000
to fight
Dana White.
Okay.
So what happened there? Now he stood out.
Yeah.
He did something that stood out. Is he really going to put $200,000 up? No, he's not.
Of course not.
But people are talking about it, right?
I just thought he could have explained it better because I'm confused. So he's saying, Dana, get me a fighter. So let's just use Maya.
I'll bet you $200,000 that I can beat him.
Okay, so then Dana's supposed to go, all right, I got you, Maya. I got $200,000 on Maya versus.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's not going to happen, but it's funny, right?
Yeah, it is funny, I guess.
It's funny. It's a guy who's confident, where now people are going, holy shit, this
So
dude's
maybe
not
what he
afraid of
should
no
have
one.
said was, Dana, get me a top-notch welterweight. And if anybody wants to bet me on the side $200,000,
he should have just said $1 million.
bizarre.
He should have just said $1 million. He ain't gonna put up 200. He ain't
that
gonna put up
sounds good,
100.
too.
He could have just said $1 million, and it would have had the same effect. So
Is that the the BMW where somebody said, somebody can't bet 300,000? We always talk about the BMWs. If you get like a 5 Series, what do they tell you?
Should have got a 7.
Yeah.
If Dana White picked Damian Maya,
yeah.
and would you side with Maya or George?
Maya? Yeah. I think Maya would work him. George is too stationary. Keeps his legs too close together for a guy like Maya. Maya will push him around the cage. George doesn't have good octagon control. You know what I mean? It seems like
takedown would come and all that?
It seems like he trains a lot in either a boxing ring or out in open mat. It just doesn't seem like he understands he doesn't move around a lot in the cage. So he gets his back up against the fence a lot, and against somebody like Maya would take him down.
You put $200K on Maya.
I put $1 million on Maya. $1 million on Maya. Yeah. I like Maya in that fight, but I want to see him fight if either Nick Diaz or
awesome
or Carlos Condit. Either one of those would be some fucking boss ass fights. I'll watch them.
Yeah, I'm down.
Anybody but Maya. I don't know.
All right, we still got to talk about Ngannou and Arlovsky, Knight and Caceres to round out the main card, and on the prelims, Sam Alvey defeated Nate Marquardt. Rafael Assunção split decision Aljamain Sterling. Li Jialang defeated Bobby Nash. Jordan Johnson, Eric Spicely, Marcos Rogerio de Lima also got wins. Alexander Pantoja and Jason Gonzalez on the Fight Pass to round out the card. The bonuses that night went to Shevchenko, Masvidal, Ngannou, and Knight. They all got performance of the nights. There wasn't a fight of the night. Dana White did say, though, he was going to bump up a couple guys. I can't remember who he said, but he said there was a great fight on the undercard, and he gave them some love.
Probably
The gate
and Bobby Nash, huh?
I may have been, yeah. The gate was just over 1 million, and the attendance was 13,233. When we come back, we'll take some calls. We'll talk about UFC on Fox 23, as well as Bellator 171, and anything else that's on your mind. Of course, Super Bowl 51 on Sunday. We want to hear it all. 866-522-2846. Kevin Lee in the house.
video games aren't accurate.
His face is
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been. And because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
And we got to be thankful that Kevin Lee is sticking around here. Because I just...
still in the building.
I just pissed him off.
Still in the building.
I told Kevin Lee that I feel like he looks like Mike Tyson, but not regular Mike Tyson.
What did you start the conversation with, though?
I said, I'm going to tell you something, but you can't murder me. And he agreed not to murder me.
And he hasn't been murdered, so
I told
I'm
him,
a man of my word.
I believe he looks like Mike Tyson, but not regular Mike Tyson.
You want to show it again?
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out Mike Tyson. And
which is a pixelized version.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Mike
if we
Tyson
blurred you up a little bit.
After he had a stroke and with fucking demon double eyebrows.
Let me pull up a better one. Let's see. Yeah, this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
No, that one's
totally
worse.
not the same.
That's the same thing.
Totally not the same thing.
That's like if we pixelated your face, I think you would look like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out Mike
You
Tyson.
were clear about not the gap in his
Yeah,
teeth.
no gap, yeah.
I mean,
and he
is
hasn't,
that
he
the
hasn't
issue,
tattooed
though?
his face.
Is that the issue? Is the gap? I'm just...
No?
I mean, that's pushing it. Yeah, I don't know. No.
I tried my best not to get hit.
Okay, no. Wait. Go back.
Huh?
A second ago, killed it for you.
What happened?
There was. I just saw the part, and you don't use the part.
Nah.
I think what he's saying is, see right here.
That I get punched in the nose a lot,
like
and
the shape of his face, like the forehead, especially in the eyes, right here.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Francis Ngannou knocked out Andrei Arlovsky on Saturday night.
George kind of looks like Bald Bull, huh?
A little bit. Yeah, I could see that.
He knocked out Andrei Arlovsky. What did you guys think of that fight? It was quick, and I think it's what a lot of people expected.
Mm-hmm.
Arlovsky now has lost 4 straight after winning 4 straight in the UFC, on top of winning 9 out of 10, along with that win streak. I mean, he was it going into last January when he lost to Miocic. And granted, he's lost to good fighters, Barnett, Miocic, Ngannou, and he just lost to somebody else.
It's just hard at heavyweight without a chin, As a hard, and he's so predictable, He doubles up on the right hand with damn near every combo. He throws a big overhand, And I got to give it to my man. Can fight. Like he's gonna be a fucking future of the division. He can fight. Not only is he, he's big, strong, and fast. But he showed that he's smart too. He stayed in great position the whole time, and he just waited, picked his shot. Arlovsky threw the big overhand that is going to come, and he hooked him, and hit him with a perfect 3-2-3 after that. Hit him with damn near all 3 punches. So
Overeem was the other guy that Arlovsky lost to, and so some were saying, should he retire? And what I'm saying is, go ahead and fight and come back. He still has some years, especially because at heavyweight, those guys are going into their 40s now.
Yeah.
But take some time off. I mean, that was 4 fights in literally 12 months. That's a lot, man.
But what's interesting is the way he lost those fights, right? You don't want to take that kind of damage.
Mm-hmm. As far as Ngannou's concerned, I love the progression. Let's tap the brakes on world champ. I mean, he may get there. I think he's got some skills, but along with that comes some pressure. I remember when Dana White said we found the next Anderson Silva, and it was Philippe Nova on one of the seasons of the reality show, and that didn't pan out. So,
but he's definitely in a new tier, right?
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say they said contender.
Just graduated. Basically.
I think he's one below it, but he's right there. A couple guys lose here, he's going to move up.
Dos Santos is a contender. That's why he got the world title shot. Verdum's a contender because he's a former world champion coming off the win over.
He's knocking
Brown.
on the door.
Yeah, Kane is a contender, so he's knocking on the door.
I don't know. I think he beats a lot of those guys.
He may, yeah. But we got to see it first.
Yeah. It's hard to, but I don't know but just based off the way he moves around, and kind of his demeanor in there, I don't know. He beats a lot of those guys. I pay big money to watch him versus Dos Santos. I'll say that.
He's legit, man. Jason Knight defeated Alex Caceres. I knew it would be entertaining, just because Caceres, he's just a character, man. So many people hated him on the show. And I didn't. I figured that he identified himself with something with the Bruce Leroy character. He had the street fighting background. He was getting down like Masvidal and Kimbo and Ray, down at 305. And And, he tightened things up. Like, he actually got popped for marijuana, and then he said, I'm not doing it again until my career's over. And I thought that was very responsible. Whether he did it or not, I don't know. But when he moved over to the lab, he said, I'm done with it till my career's over, and then, obviously, he can partake. But now that was before USADA. And with USADA, that's actually one of the that's one of the things they're flexible on. As long as you're not high within 8 hours before or afterwards, I think you're good. So that's why I'm wondering what the fuck's taking Nick Diaz so long to get back. Pick a fight already.
His biggest opponent is Father Time himself.
Yeah. Sam Alvey defeated Nate Marquardt. I mentioned that earlier. He said he was sucking wind. It was a close one. I was going to bet Alvey, and I got off of it because I respected some people that know how to pick fights, and they kept saying Marquardt, so I laid off of it. Sunsao killed my parlay. Yeah. I kept saying I need to see it out of a Sunsao to know he's back because he didn't show it to me in the Dillashaw fight. And Aljamain, both guys actually coming off losses. Aljamain went out there, and I just thought there was just too much time that was wasted without being productive.
I thought Aljamain won that fight,
I thought it was close, but I didn't think it was too clear either way.
I thought Aljamain won the fight. It's hard to I can kind of see it because it is hard to fight that style in MMA of hitting the guy and not getting hit, in MMA you're gonna get hit. You had to come with, you just got to realize it, and but I
thought Aljamain was a lot more offensive against Caraway before Caraway took over. Like that first round Aljamain had was very impressive here at Mandalay Bay. About a year ago. So I thought the striking was coming along. He was throwing off Caraway with all those kicks, and in this fight, he just wasn't throwing enough offense.
He doesn't throw his hands as much. His kicks are basically like he uses that as a jab. Basically.
But a lot of times he throws those kind of like get the fuck away from me kicks, like where he just doesn't want to get hit. He's not really trying to hit you either. And I think the judges kind of see that. You know what I mean? Or at least they saw that in this fight. He throws like a lot of like.
Right, because he's not creating damage.
Yeah, he's not creating damage, but he's not taking damage either. Like I think that's his whole goal is.
But then you get to the end and you're waiting for three bozos to tell you who won, right?
Like I said, it's a hard style to fight. You can do that in boxing. You can play defense for 12 rounds of boxing and damn near win the fight. In MMA, it's damage over everything and it's offense over everything, and they look at it as even if you throw the punch and you slip the punch, they still give it to the guy that threw the punch, because they're offensive based here. So I don't know. Aljamain maybe have to switch up a couple things. I still thought he won the fight, but
so did I.
I could see.
I think in the end, if you would have told me who'd you think won, I would have said I think they're going to give it to Sterling. But once they said a Sunsao, I was not shocked because it was close.
I'll say that I thought he was the better fighter. He just didn't fight the better fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's the better fighter overall. Maybe he should just go back to the drawing board.
And a Sunsao in victory also. I mean, whether Sterling won or Sunsao, neither guy really just grabbed that 35 division by the throat and said, I want next. No one made a statement out of those two. And so now what happens is when Cruz comes back, he may play the give me the winner of the reality show, Garbrandt versus Dillashaw. And I thought a Sunsao, if he had beaten the shit out of Sterling, or maybe vice versa, one of them maybe could have got in front of Cruz if Cruz doesn't make a push for it. You know what I mean? And what that does is it costs you anywhere between 4 and 6 months before you get to a possible next title shot. Every time you delay yourself by a fight, you're costing yourself 4 to 6 months. That's wear and tear. That's another camp, and it's the possibility you may lose, and it all goes away. Look what happened to Cowboy. 4 wins in a row at welterweight. They kept saying he might be next. And it all got taken away in one fight, and that's exactly what can happen if, you got to make these statement wins. You got to make these wins count.
This whole thing is.
I say it every time. Every time I take a fight, these fights are. In the next fight I only make $100,000.
This one's huge for you, man, Ronaldo. That's a name there.
But this is a fight that can determine. My entire future. This fight's worth millions of dollars to me, so that's the way I got to approach it. Even though I might only make $100,000 out of the fight, it's worth millions in the long run when you really look at it and see where the next fight is, where the fight after that is. It's worth a lot more than just face value.
People don't realize the soap opera that they're watching unfold. You look at Ngannou and you see Arlovski. What are they hoping there, right? They want the young buck to take out the old guy, have that skin, and move on. They're trying to do the same thing in that fight with Sterling and a Sunsao. It didn't work. Sometimes you'll get the other guy that checks the guy below him and says, you're still not ready to make that jump. It's a big soap opera, dude.
It is, man. And I'll tell you something, Kevin. I mean, like, you're 4-2 now. And let's see, in the UFC, you're 7-2. 14-2. Did I say 4-2? 14-2 overall. 7-2. You've won 7 of your last 8, including 3 in a row. I mean, those are like when we're talking about title fights, that's the kind of stuff we're telling to whoever's fighting for a world title. So this is a step up. Trinaldo's a tough guy. I mean, he's beaten his fair share. It's in Brazil. So congrats, first of all. Great fight booking, and I hope you have a safe camp and a great fight against this guy.
It's going to be a damn good fight, you know. I tried real hard to make that Khabibov fight, like really hard. Like
Rustam Khabilov?
No, Khabibov here in when they
Khabib
fought in.
Nurmagomedov.
Oh, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
No.
Who?
Rustam.
Yeah, Rustam Khabilov.
How do you say his name?
Khabilov.
I keep saying Khabibov. Fuck it, I'm gonna keep calling him that. So I tried real hard to make that fight. You know, I don't know
what happened.
You know, I don't know. I really don't know.
What does I tried to make it happen mean? Does it mean that you told the matchmaker and the matchmaker took notes?
Look, right after my fight, right before the holidays, we were blowing up Joe because Joe was still there. We were blowing up Joe Silva, and then when he switched over to Sean Shelby, we were blowing up Sean Shelby. And Shelby was like, "Yeah, I like the fight." Joe was saying that he liked the fight. Why they didn't make the fight, I don't know. I really don't know. I thought it would have made sense to do it on 209. You know, you got Khabib versus Tony, and you got me versus Khabilov, and I was going to fight the loser of Khabib and Tony. That's kind of my mindset. But it's when that fight didn't make. This fight is better for me. You know, this fight will put me in the top 10. This kid's way tougher than Khabibov, and
okay,
it's gonna be a damn good fight. Even if I do got to go down to Brazil.
Yeah, we got to take calls, and then we'll talk more about Kevin Knight. 106. That's Fight Night 106, and it goes down. What's the date in March?
March 11th.
March 11th in
Brazil.
Fortaleza, Brazil. It's headlined by Belfort versus Gastelum. He'll be taking on Trinaldo, who's 21-4. All right, let's take these calls. We've been waiting. Chomping at the bit first is Marco from Waco. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco, que pasa datos, and Kevin Lee.
What's up?
What up, though?
I want to stongan all the dumbasses that paid $5 for that Conor McGregor interview that was posted for free on YouTube just a few hours later.
Did you pay for
it? Wasn't there 5,000 in attendance?
Yeah, it was a lot of people.
I wonder what it cost to go to a Conor McGregor interview. I mean, was it parlayed with, hey, we got a DJ and other stuff happening, or was it just showing up to an interview?
It looked like they had tables and maybe they served you dinner or something too. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Who cares? Hey, look, a quick roundup of the fights this weekend. Shevchenko, Dancing with the Stars, man. Watch out, Paceman Sam. That girl can dance. Freaking Masvidal. Hey, I'm sorry, Masvidal. I never pick against you ever again. Francis Ngannou is a bad man. And Jason Knight, I wasn't down with this kid until I'm not even religious. And when he went down on his knees and said that prayer for his father, the kid just won me over, man. Besides being an exciting fighter, he's authentic, he's for real. So Jason Knight, I am one of your fans right now. We're going to let you guys catch you guys next time.
See you, Marco. Good call. All right, he covered a lot there. That was touching to see Knight, who lost his father, get down on his knees and dedicate the fight to him. Jake Shields did that. Jake Shields fought when he lost his father days after, maybe within 2 weeks, 10 days. I can't recall. It didn't go good for him. It's a coin flip, man. I don't know. Some people can get motivated by that. Brett Favre, I think, once threw for 350 yards and 4 TDs in Oakland.
I think Jordan had something.
Right, yeah. And then there's others that take a long time to bounce back. However you deal with it, however you choose to mourn, it's totally on you. Our thoughts and prayers with his family, and congratulations. That was a real gutsy win against a tough kid in Caceres. Let's go to Aaron in Texas. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. One thing I know you guys are talking about, hey, what's up, Kevin? I know you guys are in the studio. I know you guys are talking about building fights up, and you guys weren't really particularly happy. I know Kevin was with the Pena trash talk this weekend. And, it's one thing I never understood, and I always kind of thought about the professional wrestling side of it, because if you just, if you run through 30 guys, every single time you're berating, it's like, oh, they are terrible, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, then who did you beat? You didn't beat anybody. If this person, if Mike the Milkman's not very good, but if you build up and say, you know what, hey, this guy, he's good in this area, he's going to be a tough fight, I'm not going to be very good to beat him. When you win, you beat him, you make yourself look better, like, oh, he actually beat somebody, he actually beat somebody, as opposed to, berating people and, basically calling them jobbers, for lack of a better word. What do you guys think about that?
I think a smart promoter, there's always somebody. Everybody it doesn't matter. Even if you only have like 1 or 2 professional fights, you're a tough fighter, and smart promoters always build up the opponent as well. You know, you saw it with Roy Jones was always the worst promoter. Because he would do that. He would like berate his opponent and like, oh, this guy's nothing. And it's like, okay, well, why are we watching the fight? You know, like he would go and like play a basketball game right before the fight or some crazy shit like that. And that's why he never sold pay-per-views. You know, he's got some of the worst pay-per-view numbers of all time because he's a horrible promoter. You know, smart promoters realize, and I don't think Juliana is a. I mean, the UFC got behind her. They put her in the main event on a Fox card, so they saw something there, but I just didn't like her approach to it, and especially the trash talk. You know, you got to be smart with it.
To answer your question about that, what would happen in the inaugural featherweight title fight? I don't know the exact rules of New York. I don't know them. I don't know the body of the commission. But one thing that would happen with Cal Uno versus BJ Penn, don't forget that was for the inaugural lightweight title, and that went to a draw. They don't fight a 6th round in that fight. They didn't fight a 6th round. They just called a draw and went back to the table and tried to do it again, and I think that fight fell through and never happened.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Good point of reference. Thank you, sir.
There you go.
All right, guys, that's all I got. Y'all have a great day, all right?
All right, see ya. Danny, we squeezing one more in? I don't hear any music, or are we going to commercial?
Why don't we get this last one in, and then we'll go right to commercial.
All right. Josh from Ontario. What's up, Josh?
Hey, guys, I'll be quick here. Kevin, thanks for coming into studio. Hope you can make it to the gathering in May, being a Vegas guy now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then, GG, my question was for you, sir. On Friday, you give us a teaser. You give us 4. You give us Knight, Alvey, Masvidal, and Valentina. Was Aljo your secret pick? Is that what happened there? You said you had a secret one, and then earlier you just alluded to.
These fucking guys. They listen to everything, man. So you know what? I did have Aljamain. That cost me. I was sharing that with Gabe from L.A. I went 4-0. Jingling. I actually dropped Alvey and put Jingling in, and but some people I respect were really leaning on Marquardt, and I was like, okay. So I decided to back off of Alvey. And look, it was a close fight. It could have really gone either way. But I felt like a Sun Sal's performance against Caraway, and then even then, that was still another 7 months off. So he literally has only had like one fight in like almost 3 years. I just didn't feel like that's enough to be fluid, especially when you're a younger guy. The big guys, I think, you can throw them out there and go punch, and they'll go out there and they'll give you something. But I think the little guys, there really is something to being fluid and having your timing down. I guess Dominic Cruz is the only one that could say you don't need that. But other than that, if Assunção had looked better against Dillashaw, then maybe I would have taken him because I thought he was a beast in that 7-fight win streak. But and I still knew that Aljamain, I guess, had to overcome the Caraway loss. And sometimes they say he's his own worst enemy just because he, tends to not listen to his coaches. He said it himself, exhausting himself before the fight. So in the end, I just thought about the youth, and I think Ray Longo's interview convinced me. So it was him, and I traded Jingling for Alvey.
I lost money on him too.
Cool, that's
Makes
all.
You feel better.
I took Go's advice, and I just sat back and watched. I didn't bet this weekend. I'm saving my pennies for May. So have a good show, guys. Thanks.
All right, see you, Josh. All right, folks, you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We'll take this quick break, and when we come back, we'll finish up with some calls. We'll put a bow on UFC fight on Fox 23. I want to talk to Kevin a little bit more about this Trinaldo matchup. He's got 7 wins in a row himself. So he's a tough cat. 21-4. He's beaten Felder, Medeiros, Pearson. Kevin's right. This fight really starts putting him into that. You're almost like in a little bit of Ngannou situation where you're graduating to contender status. All right, so we'll be right back after this break. was legit too.
Bobby Brown was a part of New Edition. Really? Bobby Brown, the Whitney
I get
Houston.
paid to say things in this cool voice, and they get paid to be lame. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, so as you can tell, the theme for today is New Edition. This fool Goes over here. He told me, hey, man, there's a mini-series on New Edition. And that's a boy band back in the early 80s, mid-80s, late 80s, and early 90s. So about a 10-year run they had. And, of course, I remember them. But that was when Gigi was growing into a teenager and a young man. So boy bands, I was like, better go somewhere. I ain't trying to hear that. I'm chasing tail. I'm gambling. I'm drinking. I'm smoking cigars.
I'm in Menudo phase, so I'm like, hell yeah, little kids. Woo.
Little kids, yeah. So anyway,
Awesome.
but so he reminded me, he goes, they did a miniseries, and I was like, all right, I like miniseries and documentaries. There really is something to filmmaking nowadays. So I don't mind going back. I do it with 30 for 30 and, on ESPN. So, yeah, I'll give it a shot because I remember New Edition. They came on the scene, much respect. Man, I sat there for 6 hours straight, and I watched all 3 parts because it was a 3-part series on BET.
Okay. What kind of mini-ass series is that? 6 hours?
Well, it was a 3-part series, 2 hours. I guess it went week, right?
You know what's funny? Is he went on BET, almost like he was going to go.
BET.
Oh,
Yeah. You know BET, right?
Yeah.
I didn't do that, did I?
Yeah,
you
did.
it's
what should I have said? It was a 3-part miniseries on BET. But anyway, so it's on BET. It's 3 2-hour episodes.
I work for I know everybody that works for BET.
Do you really?
No,
Okay.
of course not.
Well, I don't know. So check it out. So I sat down and it sucked me in. It was good. Because I love how they go into details about this is how the band started. These were their struggles. This is when they first had their triumphs. This is why Bobby Brown left. And I started connecting the dots. Oh, yeah, I remember he left. He did his own thing. He was banging Whitney Houston. They were doing coke, blah, blah, blah. Johnny Gill steps in, this and that. So it was cool. I recommend it. Seriously. Tape it so that way you can just fast forward through the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
But it was solid. I mean, hats off to Goes.
Thanks. I think you would like
a good
it.
one.
All right.
You don't have to,
maybe.
because
you know
Bobby
honestly
Brown.
didn't know
BET
it's on
too.
BET
Yeah.
too. Okay, that's good. I'll watch it then. But I really didn't even know what Bobby Brown was famous.
He started with New Edition. He actually created New Edition.
I'm in the new millennium. I only knew him for the Whitney Houston thing because that's all you ever hear about is the Whitney Houston jokes.
You ever heard of Johnny Gill?
God, you guys.
Ralph Tresvant. All right, those guys had big solo careers as well, but they started there as well.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, you'd like it. It was cool. It was a cool series.
Maybe I should learn my history.
Okay, do you remember when I told you check out Pulp Fiction? You went, you checked it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
came
it was
back.
dope.
We were
Yeah,
fist bumping,
yeah,
right?
yeah, it was
You
dope.
will like
Yeah.
this. You will like this.
All right. I'll take you up on that.
Anybody else that's listening, check out the 3-part miniseries on BET. It already happened, so you may have to go onto their website, or maybe they're still playing it.
They play
just
it
go
every
in
day.
there and do the other showings, and then record it, and then just bang them out 1, 2, 3. But it was solid. And Goes was telling me that the Hard Rock may have signed him to a residency.
They played the Hard Rock about 2 months ago, I think, and I heard that they are trying to get a residency. I'm assuming it would be at the Hard Rock.
If you put all 6 of them together, because Brown started it off with 4 other guys, and then Brown left, or they kicked him out. Gil came in, who's a great singer, but in the end they were all 6. But all 6 of them, between their individual albums and that, it's enough to have a good 15
Half of them
song set.
became Belle Biv DeVoe. You know who that is?
No,
all right, you'll recognize it when we come back.
All right, this is Kevin Lee in studio. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio. We'll be back after this break. We'll start taking some more calls. 866-522-2846. Stay close.
What up, though?
All right, go ahead.
And so she says, let's do it. The room's already paid for. All right, no.
Hey, where was that from?
Back to school.
Back to school. Okay.
Yeah. So that's just one of those lines where, let's say two people are talking,
Right,
someone creeps up on you.
I know. I got you. Yeah, no, I was with it.
There was a slight delay on your laughter.
No,
though.
I was just,
Okay.
no, I just was, you know.
Gavin McCarron says Kevin Lee would be a good regular now that he's in Vegas. He's killing it today for sure. He kind of is a regular. This is like about the 6th or 7th time you've been here?
Yes, sir. I love this show.
Yeah, all right.
You know,
Drew Dominguez
this is one of
says
my favorite
Kevin
shows
is
to do.
killing it today. Good show, guys. Gavin McCarron also says, I thought Aljo won the fight. He controlled the action, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Chris Dantuma says, Kevin Lee, represent Michigan MMA.
Hey.
Edward
Shout out to
Nelson
my boy Bobby
Glass.
Nash.
Bobby Nash?
Bobby Nash this weekend. You know, he made his UFC debut.
Oh, the wrestler kid out of Michigan?
Yeah. You know,
he's tough, man.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of fights. He doesn't have a lot of
Got some
experience.
power.
You know, but he's got a lot of power. He fought Li Jingliang, and Li can fucking fight. You know, he came out here and trained with us for a little bit, and you know,
that was a good fight.
Yeah, he showed up good for it. I think
even
that was
Brian Stan said it in a losing effort. That was very impressive.
Yeah. You know, it happens. It's your UFC debut. Took it on short notice.
Well,
was
he
getting
had
ready
him.
for a completely different fight.
He almost won the fight.
Damn near had him.
So it wasn't like he didn't represent one bit.
I think that was the fight that.
That's why I became a Paul Felder fan. I don't know who his first fight was, but they threw him in there, the Irish Dragon. Yeah, and I just went,
damn. Back
right? Well, no, he had two other.
Won his first fight.
He had two other fights before that were like kind of duds. He fought like kid down in Brazil.
Yeah, maybe.
And then it was the Danny Castillo fight out here in
Vegas. I just remember he'd go forward, he'd throw hard, and him and Barboza.
It was the Barboza fight that, you know.
Sometimes I'll cheer for fighters just as long as they give me an effort, even on a losing cause.
You know how that caller was saying, look out, Paige Van Zandt, Valentina can dance too? He ain't joking. Have you seen her dance before? Like on
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's her. She actually does do this. Put a little bigger so people can see.
No shit, she can really dance. Huh?
You guys are back in a minute.
She got moves, right?
Yeah, that ain't no. I got it.
She's
I mean, I'm impressed. I can't do that shit. I thought she was known for being, you know, like a really kind of like a manly chick, you know? Shoots guns.
You know what?
Russian, you know?
I didn't know that. I didn't know about the gun thing when we were in Virginia.
She was a natural.
Dude, she grabbed, I couldn't figure out how to do something. She grabbed my gun and almost took it apart and put it back together.
Yeah, I know. She's more manly than me. Oh, I got to find this woman.
Do you like guns?
Yeah, tell her to hit me up. What's up?
You ever shoot guns?
I do. I don't anymore, but yeah. I try and stick away from
I guess coming back in time.
Valentina probably took a cell phone, huh? The dance floor. She's like, hey, can I see that?
That was probably her.
And in broken English.
That's the one.
In broken English, you know. I ain't fighting her for that shit, though.
Yeah, Spider-Man and freezing full effect. You ready, Ron? I'm ready. You ready, Dave?
I'm ready, Slick. Are you?
Oh yeah, take it down.
Girl, I must.
You've heard this, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, these three of these dudes were a new edition.
Really?
So they broke off.
So what?
and
They
did
just like
this.
make like their own shit.
Yeah.
I think someone writes their songs,
and
but they choreograph, and they just became popular because they had, you know, a show presence, a floor presence.
What was that, like the year of the boy band or the decade of the boy band?
What happened was Bobby Brown took off, right? He was successful on his own. Then Ralph Tresvant was doing his own thing on his own. So then they told these remaining three guys, like, you guys should do something. And they did this. They did Bell Biv DeVoe.
And I heard someone
That's a talented
associated
group,
with
right?
them earlier. Once they were out of the picture, they created New Kids on the Block.
But what's so
Really?
crazy
Yeah.
is it's so many of those bands in like the 80s and the 90s. You know, you had pretty much everybody seems like they had a band, and nowadays nobody. You know, you ain't hearing. You know, if a fucking boy band came out right now, you wouldn't.
It goes in cycles.
Yeah, you wouldn't pay them a day of mine, you know.
Yeah. You know, that being said, I think New Kids on the Block and someone else are playing T-Mobile during our junkie gathering.
Really?
Yeah, people still go out and see that.
So check this out. I used to be event. No, not. I wasn't.
You used to be in a boy band?
No.
Oh, go ahead, tell me.
I was,
Did you guys used to have a boy band?
I worked at the Honda Center in Anaheim, and I had a job there, and I learned all the ways to get in to the tunnels, right? And I think Goes had bragged that I got him in to meet Stone. Who did we meet? Stone Cold, and
we met a lot of them.
Undertaker.
Right.
He was talking at a family function, and so my cousin Sandra says, "The Backstreet Boys are coming. I'm taking you," you know. And her stepdaughter goes, "Yeah, I wanna go. She was like 8, 9, 10, I don't know.
Okay.
So I was like, "Okay, cool. Well, when is it?" She goes, "July," and I thought it was only like March. I go, "I'll talk my way out of it by then." Next thing you know, she calls me that week. She goes, "Don't forget, I bought your ticket. I'm picking you up. We're going to Backstreet Boys on Saturday." I'm like, "Oh, wow." And she even may have set me up. She goes, "What do you got going on this weekend?" I think I went, "Nothing." Well, you know, that's when she goes, "Well, don't forget." I go, "Oh."
So now you got to sit there and watch.
So she bought me the ticket, and I go, "Oh, man, all right, let's go." So she went. She bought me the ticket. Her stepdaughter's a sweetheart, so I was like, "Okay, let's go. You know, we'll have a good time." Kevin, I'm not playing around, man. The reason a boy band can always exist is because little girls fucking love them.
Yeah, and they're fucking pedophiles.
You should have seen how loud these girls scream. I mean, we were sitting there, and I just remember one of the guys just kind of did a little bit of, bit of swivel hips.
Right, yeah.
And all you heard was like,
right, yeah. Because they're
times
fucking pedophiles.
Times 20,000.
And it's,
I mean, where you're just like, ooh, I mean, it was bad. It was like I was in a haunted house.
But think about how bad they're pedophiles in front of a bunch of prepubescent girls. You know, I guess if that's your thing.
That's not the spin I would
make
put
money.
it.
I mean, I ain't
you
gonna,
can say they're pedophiles.
You know,
I would say they're millionaires dancing in front of women.
I ain't gonna knock a man's hustle, but
there's two levels though. If you go to that concert, I know guys that go to those concerts for the girls. Not for the little ones, but the moms.
But the 10-year-olds.
There's a lot of moms. Do you have a soundbite of a girl screaming on Halloween just that sees a ghost?
I have a soundbite of you at the concert if you want to hear it.
It's close enough.
Uh-oh.
I think you were looking at one of the moms, but let's go.
She's beautiful, man. Look at those titties.
So let me tell you something, dude. They just yelled and yelled. Anyway, I go, "Hey, they're in their encores. We better get out of here because this is the time to sneak down, right?" So it's a process. It takes 10, 15 minutes, but we went in this door, in that elevator, and this guy, past that guy, boom, boom, down some stairs, and just then you hear them saying, "So long, Anaheim," you know? And I go, "We got to hurry." And we literally get to an area where I thought they would come back because in pro wrestling, as soon as you went through this the curtain, all the other wrestlers are there to say, "Good fight," you know, or "Good match," and they all congratulate each other. They hang out. Not the Backstreet Boys. They literally ran through the curtain, straight onto a bus that just took off. So they're not playing around. They're not signing autographs. There was no social media back then. It was just literally out of there. And so all she got was maybe a quick picture of the last guy jumping into the bus. So I felt like we let him down, but then again, we didn't. Cause
did you blow that picture up and put it on your wall? Treasure it forever?
How'd you know that?
I mean, hey, lucky guess.
Hey, did you get
everybody's got their own thing, you know. Hey,
did you get roped into a poster or a T-shirt? Something like that? Because you're like Uncle George, right?
Yeah, we had hot dogs and Cokes and
not
posters.
Hot dogs and Cokes. What I'm saying is, like, did you have to buy a shirt or a poster or something?
Oh, I can't remember. I mean, I'm foggy on details, but I just remember that's how it went down. Because I've had to tell that story a few times. People are like, "You went to a Backstreet Boy concert?"
At least you try and justify it.
I did.
That's good. At least you added a girl.
I got a little bit roped up in it, but it was
to
family, and I kind of had the hookup.
Whatever you like you said, you've had plenty of practice rehearsing this story. So
want to get away?
If the true story is that you just wanted to go to a Backstreet Boys concert, then this is a way to
give me a good embarrassing moment you can confess to us.
I don't have none.
Come on, you have been cool for 20-some years.
I've never made a mistake in my life. What are you talking about?
Give us a moment.
I've never made a mistake, and never been embarrassed.
Ever said something dumb you wish you could take back?
Nope.
No?
Never. Not once.
Never done.
Not once.
You got
Not
your
even
phone
today.
taken away 2 weeks ago. You ain't that cool. There's got to be something. How about you guys?
I went into the women's locker room one time I didn't know it was.
That ain't so bad.
Well, nobody was there, so I was naked, and then all these little girls came in. When I was like 6. It was at Los Caballeros.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's probably the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened.
Okay, so start over. What happened? I don't think I've heard
we would
this.
go to this club, and
Los
we would all go
Caballeros.
swimming.
Mhm.
And so I think George said something like, hey, Mom's going to pick us up in a little bit. Go get changed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I'm a little kid, man. I don't know. I just went into a locker room. It's got lockers, just like every other locker room. And I start taking off my trunks, and then all these little girls come in, and I'm just standing there naked, and they just stood there, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? So I put my thing back on, and yeah, I was in the wrong one. Either that or maybe they came in the wrong one, but it's probably the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened
I'm pretty
in my
sure
life.
you went in the wrong one. I mean, if there was multiples of them.
Well, it was like 6 of them. They all came in at the same time.
Wow. I
So
mean,
you didn't figure it out at the end if you were like, did it say women or men or?
No, it looked just the same. The only
No,
thing
but when you left, did you go, well, I'll be damned? Like, did you go, which one did I go in? Or?
I put my stuff back on, and I was so embarrassed. I might have even cried. I went back to over where you were at, and I didn't even change or nothing. And I was like, I just want to get out of here. And then like,
how old were you?
Probably like 6.
Oh, see,
maybe
okay,
5
yeah,
around there.
Young, real young. Because otherwise, you could have spent. If you would have said like 17, something.
Luckily, it was in a different city,
that,
so I don't have to run into those girls at school or anything like that.
But you never know in subsequent trips if you went in the women's or men's. You never figured it out.
No, I think I went in the women's because it's 5 or 6 of them came in all at the same time. I mean. That was bad.
That's funny. All right, let's talk to Showtime from Tennessee, and then we'll get back to the MMA stuff. Some stuff went down this weekend, including 5,000 people who went to see Conor McGregor get interviewed by Ariel Helwani.
Man,
and they broadcasted that by charging $3.99 British pounds. So maybe what's that, like
$5?
About $5-6. I don't know how many paid for that. Kevin's right. It got posted pretty quickly. So what I did was I wasn't going to pay for it, but as I'm doing stuff, looking at rankings, I just hit play and heard, what it was he had to say. I got to admit, I mean, there was some interesting stuff in there, but I thought some stuff got overblown. It doesn't sound like he's saying fuck the UFC directly. No, I think he's saying my first option is to work with the UFC and make this Mayweather fight happen, because he does seem to think that's what needs to get done.
Isn't that his only option, though?
He also revealed other stuff about, like, if they would have just came to him, he would have given up the belt. But, these guys are he doesn't appreciate the way they're acting. Gave a lot of love towards the Fertittas. Some stuff was covered, all right? So I hit play and I listened, and then from time to time, if I just wanted to see his reaction, I did it. But for the most part, I just listened in the background, and yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think it was that bad either. A lot of that is the media. The media is going to take the bits and pieces and kind of blow it up. And I think the worst thing they did was they asked Dana about it, and Dana didn't even hear the interview. They just told Dana like that little, oh, he said fuck the UFC, but you didn't really hear like the context of what it was. And I don't know if that's gonna blow up in his face, and Dana's really gonna take it to heart. But the media can be a motherfucking Jesus Christ.
By looking at Dana's reaction, I could tell that's probably not the first time that he's ever butted heads with McGregor.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. I think it was our own John Morgan or maybe Steven Morocco that may have asked Dana about this.
Like, goddamn, give him a day. Like, at least let Dana, listen to the interview, and they're just like, oh, he said fuck the UFC. Like, what do you think about that? And he's like, okay. Well,
when you have Dana in front of you, you gotta ask.
Yeah, I know. I'm not blaming the me. They got you guys gotta make your cake too. Like, I'm not gonna knock it, but fuck, man, it can be hard on us. You know what I mean? Because now McGregor's got to deal with that. He might have a little situation on his hands. So I don't necessarily think that's his only option. He doesn't. It's his best option, that's for sure.
That fight doesn't happen without the UFC involved. I think we all kind of know that. I just don't see how he gets out of that contract. He mentioned something about, why can guys submission grapple, which is a good point. Yeah. Except they're, I believe, suspended.
But I feel like that's where the loophole is, is in that because it's not an MMA fight. You aren't getting licensed as an MMA fighter. You aren't getting, sanctioned as an MMA fight. So how can an MMA?
Actually, not all of them were suspended.
I don't know.
Not all of them were suspended. Lombard was just going to grapple. I think it's officially if he had. Oh, she retired. But I guess it would be officially if they've tendered you an opportunity to fight. And if you have, then I think your first responsibility is to the UFC, not elsewhere. That will, I think, would be a loophole. But what are you going to say?
What I think is the loophole is you can't take a guy that's undefeated in boxing, world titles up the ass.
It's going to have to be an exhibition.
And fight an 0-0 guy. It's going to have to be an exhibition. And can that exhibition, does that fall under whatever the contract says? I don't know.
All right, so I was thinking about this the other day, guys.
That's actually a good point.
And I've been saying that
it's how Drago and Apollo Creed went down.
I feel like Mayweather owns them, obviously. I think the world feels that way.
Yeah.
But I started thinking about it. Okay, the reason Mayweather fought Canelo, and he asked for 151. They didn't do it at 47 welterweight or 54 super welterweight. Is because that's all he walks around at.
Yeah.
He can't get much heavier than that. Yeah. So let's just say Mayweather is a 51 guy, 53, whatever, 55 maybe. Well, McGregor is the guy that walks around. He just said it himself. That day he was walking around at 60, but I believe he's
way bigger.
Yeah, I believe he's more closer to 70.
75. 70,
so he could have a 15 to 20 pound advantage because Mayweather will make him come down all the way to 51 and then rehydrate or whatever. So now when they're fighting, it's not like Mayweather's never been touched. Right. I guess one thing that'll matter is what ounce gloves they wear. Because if he's conceding by saying, well, you got to do boxing, then I wonder if McGregor's going to be smart and say, well, we need to use smaller gloves. Not all the way to 4 ounce gloves. I realize that.
Right.
But
6 ounces, maybe 8. But no, they'll probably do
right.
That,
So what if McGregor just can touch him? I mean, is he going to miss every single punch? He's not going to miss every single punch. And in doing so,
I think he's going to miss every single punch.
He's going to get worked. He's going to get worked.
Yeah.
It's the best fight for McGregor for sure. It's the lowest risk fight.
If you're McGregor and you're tied up, let's say
absolutely.
Can he at least tie up Mayweather?
I'm going to throw Mayweather around.
Okay, if he ties up Mayweather,
every time
can he bash him with an elbow and go, my bad? Listen. At that point, everyone's paid their money. Deduct me the point, but maybe soften them up, do something dirty.
I train in Mayweather's gym all the time. Right. That's where I do a lot of my training. And every time I spar one of those boxers, like a very high level boxer, the first thing I do is throw him to the ground. Mm-hmm. First thing I do. They aren't gonna do maybe deduct you a point. Okay, you're gonna lose the round anyway. You don't give a fuck about losing a round. You rather if he goes into the fight, he can't expect to win a decision versus Mayweather. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So I do feel like it's going to be it would be exciting if they did it, because he's going to come out there and he should throw Mayweather around. The first time they clinch, every time they clinch, sweep him out, toss his feet in the air, and try and make him land on his head. When this fight was first approached about a year ago or so, they came to me and asked me to be Mayweather's training partner if they could make the fight happen, and they didn't make the fight happen. Now I don't think they're any closer now than they were a year ago. But I think
they're closer now than they were a year ago.
I'm excited to be his training partner for it. They'll pay me per round, and I'll get out there and I'll throw his ass around just like McGregor. I'll talk a little shit. So I'm hopefully they make the fight just for myself, but I just don't see it happening.
The one guy
Lee walking out of the gym.
In his last
feeling boss.
In his last 10 fights, the one guy that gave Mayweather trouble that's a good call. Mm-hmm. But I was gonna say Ortiz flustered him is what I was gonna say because he made it a little bit. He made it a street fight, and if you'll recall, in the end he made the mistake of that was
hugging him.
There was a point where the referee he thought action had stopped, and then that's when Mayweather clocked him. But if Conor can do a little bit of that, I just want the fight to I don't want one guy to get owned, and I have a feeling it could be if Conor doesn't make it ugly. But I don't know. I guess I'm not in these boxing gyms enough to know.
Like I said, it is the best fight.
You don't ever land a punch on these guys?
It is the best fight for McGregor. He's gonna get worked. He's not gonna get.
Roy Jones?
I will say this.
Or who's the guy?
He will not.
Who's up north?
He will not get knocked out.
Right.
He's a bigger man. He's a southpaw. Floyd hates fighting southpaws.
Right.
Floyd's worst fights have always come versus southpaws. But Mayweather's just gonna the speed. It's the speed.
So when Andre Ward says, "Oh, the Diaz brothers, they can hang, they can this, they can that," he's just being generous.
They can't hang. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hang?
They're his friends.
Can you hang with any of those guys?
I can hang with them for a few. Do
you ever
for
touch
the first
them?
couple of rounds. I'm not gonna lie. And like I said,
that means Conor can maybe touch Floyd,
especially early. Like the first, I've sparred a lot of like top level boxers, and for the first couple rounds, yeah, but it's just a different pace and it's just a different rhythm, and it's frustrating as fuck because you want to do so much more, and maybe if I had a good 2 years, then I could fight like a world champion boxer. I can go in right now and fight any pro boxer. I'll beat the fuck out of them. Like they wouldn't stand the pace that I can put on in the clinch and in the
in what?
Just any pro. If I took a pro boxing fight versus another like 0-0 pro boxer,
you could
beat the fuck out of them.
Right. I thought you said a championship boxer.
No, a championship boxer. It would take years. Like I'm being honest with myself, and with Conor too, it would take him years to be able to really compete with Floyd.
And that's what I said. I said
Canelo
Alvarez got owned, man.
Yeah,
and he's awesome. He really is an awesome fighter, and he's going to get a lot better. And he just didn't have a chance. Now, granted, that was like 4 years ago.
I'll say he won't get knocked out.
Floyd's a little bit older now, but now I'm starting to lean towards. I wonder if the size would make a difference. I wonder if Conor would make it a dirty fight. I wonder if he could talk him into smaller gloves. Because now all you need is just something on the side of the head, not necessarily always clocking on the jaw. Because my man, he's got some power. I don't know. I don't even have to fucking make it. Goes makes a great point. They really had to talk. Mark Radner had to go to work with James Toney versus Randy Couture. I think Toney was able to say that it was a martial arts background and maybe a wrestler. I forget what he said to just get in there.
Yeah.
And it looked like the commission never wanted to go down that road again. So this definitely would have to be boxing, but now Conor has no pro fights. I don't know.
Yeah.
Think about what you said. You said, Kevin, can you hang with some of those guys? There are some of those guys, and then there's fucking Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He tools some of those guys. Some of those guys, more than likely, will tool Conor McGregor.
Yep.
It's just, there's two different worlds.
Yeah, it's not going to,
Yeah, just that one sparring partner alone confessed that he was messing
The fight
McGregor
will probably
up.
happen, just because it makes sense from every other perspective except the goddamn skill matchup. But he doesn't stand a chance. So if it was me, I'd put all my money on Mayweather to win the fight. Like I said, he won't get knocked out. Mayweather isn't really like a heavy puncher. It'll just be the sheer volume and the frustration, and the way that he gets knocked out is if he quits between rounds or something like that. But
so maybe the UFC, after hearing more of the McGregor interview, maybe the UFC wasn't in the wrong to start working on that interim title, because McGregor's saying the baby's coming, and I'm really focused on this fight, and may happen at the end of the year or later. Sounds like he has no plans on defending 55.
Yeah.
All right. More calls. Showtime from Tennessee. What's up, Showtime?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, how you doing?
What up?
What up, though?
What up, KD?
What's happening?
I can't call it, man. Another day in paradise. Hey, George.
Yo.
What I tell you about my guy, my Mississippi Mean, what I tell you about it.
Yeah, you called it. Jason Knight.
That kid is tough, man. I had been actually watching him. A friend of mine is from, they call it the Gulf Coast, where he trains at down there in the gym. And the guy is nice, man. He's been on the small scene for a while. I'm very impressed with the kid, man. Very impressed. And I think he'll be a needle mover too, because he talk a lot of shit. And he's gonna do, what you guys like, as far as he's gonna talk shit if they put that mic in his hand. And with Game Bread and with Ngannou, man.
Yes,
Damn,
sir.
Very impressed. Man, let me ask you this. Man, how the hell did I lose? This been the second parlay that I lost. What's my man name? Luis Henrique, the Brazilian guy. Second time, man, I fucking betted on him, man. I would have won a parlay, and he's the only person that killed it, man.
He's your parlay buster, man. You got to stay away from him.
Luis Enrique da Silva. Wait. He won, didn't he? Jordan Johnson. Who won that fight?
I didn't even see it.
Jordan Johnson.
Jordan Johnson, yeah. I'm thinking of Marco Rogerio de Lima.
Oh, yeah. He won. I ended up winning a little parlay with some boxing. Did you guys watch the boxing? I know.
No, I forgot all about
bits
it.
And pieces.
You saw it?
Yeah. No, I caught bits and pieces.
Santa Cruz and Frampton?
Yeah.
I had gotten a tip from somebody to take the guy that was fighting Mikey Garcia, and somebody already called me out, and I think Kazem from Toronto said he almost put it. So, I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, I run into this with my buddies where if I give them a tip and it goes down, God, unbearable ball busters.
Sure.
And I'm thinking like, dude, it's fucking gambling. These are
Yeah.
all like. So now when they ask, I don't even bother with them. I just show them the results. I went 5-6 or 5-1 on Saturday. So I just go, well, that's what's up.
That ain't bad.
Yeah.
You know? Shit.
Hey, this is a good time to do stun gun stories.
As long as you win more than you lose.
Yeah. All right. Showtime. You don't want to stun gun Kevin Lee for not being here the whole week you were here in studio?
Man.
You really wanted to meet him. He was scheduled to be here.
Man.
Someone stole his phone.
Listen. New Year's in Vegas, man.
Do you remember all those conversations? Yo, Kaylee, I'm your fan. And Kaylee goes, I'm feeling you too.
I got you.
We need to hang out.
Hey,
Showtime sat in that seat for one straight week like this.
Yeah.
Man.
Like a guy waiting for a bus that would never show up.
He looked like one of them dogs on the Sarah McLachlan video. It was like every day was a little bit more.
In my defense, I only got one invite and didn't. Okay, all right. I'm trying here. Give me something.
Kevin Lee on behalf of Showtime. But you know what? He hasn't brought it up, and he sat there and never once brought it up.
Good man.
Yeah,
Good man.
Stuff happens,
Good
you know?
man. Good man. If you hear in May, I owe you a couple drinks.
Oh yeah, I'll be there in May. I'm making my commitment right now, early before everybody else. I'll be there in May.
For sure, then.
All right, Showtime. Thanks for the call.
All right, guys.
All right, we'll see you. Let's talk to Eugene in L.A. Watch how Eugene just storms through the house, opens the fridge, and fucking opens up bottles of beer. What's up, Eugene? How you doing?
Always. I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Cool. So I want to make 3 quick points. Number 1, I love Masvidal after the end of the fight. Even though I took Cerrone and I really thought Cerrone was going to win, I love how he went out there and challenged Dana White. I think there's 2 things you got to do after a fight. You either got to find somebody to call out, or you got to do something interesting like that. And I think most people that watch UFC are betting people, so they like to hear something like that. Hey, I'll bet you $200,000 I'll beat anybody you put out there in front of me. That's an interesting storyline. I'm sure Dana White's not going to take that, but now I'm more interested in Masvidal than I ever was before.
Yeah, I feel you.
Should have said $1 million. Though.
Number 2.
That's not a that you know what? You're right. You're right. That's more catchy.
Yeah, Masvidal doesn't have $1 million though. Number 2, I found the perfect guys to call all the UFC pay-per-views. Okay, it's going to be a 3-man crew. Obviously, we're going to have Joe Rogan. I really, really, really like Brian Stan, and then we bring Joey Diaz out there. So it's fun.
Let's get to the third point, and then I'll tell you why the second point won't work. But what's your third point?
Okay. Third point, I think Valentina Shevchenko is going to win the rematch against Amanda Nunes.
Yes,
I just think it's going to go 5 rounds, and we all saw what happened in the 3rd round. Shevchenko's only getting better. Nunes is talking about she only wants to fight 3 more fights and retire.
She is
going to win that
She
fight.
said that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think she
Already? Okay.
That
might be a topic. That might be a topic I want to
that.
bring up here, all right? But let me go back to what Eugene said. The reason why that I get what you're saying, Eugene, Fantasyland, but Stan and Rogan both analyze fights. They're both color commentators. So you have to have the one lead guy that kind of tells you where you're, what arena you're at, what the stakes are, what are the weights, what are the color trunks, or
Joe Rogan was a host of Fear Factor.
He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He did it one time with Brony, right? When I think Goldberg couldn't be there.
Every fight would have to be in California because them fools can't get into like half of the countries they go to, right?
Well, I don't know about all that, but those guys are both the color commentator role. There's a producer in Goldberg and Annex Ears, and they're the ones that are shuffling them to a commercial or back from a commercial and things like that. So you have to have one of those. So if you want to choose, then your pool is Chavello, Ronaldo, Anik, Goldberg. Well, Goldberg's gone. But anybody that's ever called, Wheelock, anybody that's ever called play-by-play, you start there, and then your color commentators can be Boss, Rogan, Milicic, Trigg, Stan, Florian, Dominic, DC. Now, what I do like that Eugene said was the third man in the booth. So you could have a guy that's analytical and then have a third. Like if you're going to go with Rogan, then bring in a jock. If you're going to have Stan, then I wouldn't mind that third funny guy. I thought the Monday Night Football team for years just fed off each other, having 3 guys. I mean, 2 guys is cool. A lot of people swear by 2 guys, but I love the 3-man booth. I just feel like there's more camaraderie. So I think they could make that work. I thought it was solid when they used to bring in Randy Couture. He was nailing it for a long time as far as picks were concerned. But yeah, I like the 3-man, but you just got to pick a play-by-play guy.
Yeah, and I mean, especially Joey Diaz, I like that. Call somebody a cocksucker every now and again. He gets fucking hyped during the. If you ever listen to the Fight Companion with Joe Rogan Experience when Joey's on there, he gets fucking hyped. That man loves some fights. He loves him some Stipe too. Have him on a Stipe card when he fights Dos Santos. I'll listen to the shit out of that.
Good call. Thanks, Eugene.
Right. Hey, one last thing. Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Squid still owes me a shirt.
Ooh. Let me write this down. Eugene Squid. All right, I'll get on it for it. Thank you, man.
Facebook message me, okay, George?
All right, you got it.
All right.
Later.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
so this is what I want to ask the audience going into commercial. Women's MMA, blowing up, popular. You know how I feel about the skill set. Some have it, some don't. But whatever, people are tuning in. However, the one thing I'm noticing is those retirements are going to come early. There ain't going to be the 39-year-old fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of them want to start families, and I think a lot of them just they have their run, and that's that. But mostly I think it has to do with families. Now, I don't know what happened with Nunes. What's her reasoning? I've heard her and Nina say they'd like to start a family, but I thought Nina was the one that said she would carry. Man, so that means the women, it's almost going to have to be like gymnastics. Like they're going to have to start getting in there earlier, and then maybe be starting to look at fading out between 25 and 30. But they also say past 30, because remember, the men, they go through, your body goes through shit around the 40s, and the women start going through stuff around the 30s. So anyway, I'll let these chicks chime in. I'm just kidding. Call in. Let's chime in on that one or whatever else. 866-522-2846. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're back. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. What's up, Kev?
I said that's my brother, you know.
Oh, I
It's
can't
not just
see
some
from
random
here.
dude. Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's my brother.
You don't want to tell him to come in, or he's not 21?
Not
Oh, that's
21.
Keith.
Yeah, that's Keith. Yeah,
He's not 21?
Yeah.
Damn. All right. So check this out. I'm going to share something with you guys.
See, we abide by the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, see.
Not everyone does.
All right.
But yeah. Stitch. No, not Stitch. Our good friend Jim Silverback. All this Backstreet Boy talk. He's already done a Photoshop with me and the band. And I told him jokingly, I look like their manager who's on the verge of getting fired. Taking a shot at myself, joking around. Said hello to Jake Ellenberger. He's in the same thread. And then Stitch Duran, the noted cut man, says, you can be my manager. And I wrote him back, I'll make you lots of money. You know, it's a secret dream of mine to manage fighters or someone involved in MMA by the time I exit the sport or exit the planet.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like, for one, I wouldn't cheat them. Two,
that's what they all say. That's what they all say. But go on.
Well,
go on.
but you know what I'd say?
You're like a guy on the first date, you know, like I'm different, you know. Listen, I'm not like all these other guys.
This is what I would say. Let's say you're interviewing me. I'd go, there you go, right there.
Right.
There's my resume. Call them people, and then come talk to me. You know, we're going on 2,500 shows, right? Goes 10 years. You asked me about that baseball bat. That baseball bat really isn't there to bash people in the head. It's there because it was a gift from Brandon from Louisville. But that door is wide open because we play by the rules, man. We're ethical. We bust balls, but at least we do it to your face, so you know that guy's just joking. Or this is entertainment. This is that. Whatever.
Yeah. That's what I say.
So we feel like I feel like we have credibility.
Yeah.
So I would honestly say, I'm not gonna steal from you. You know. But here would be my caveat. If somebody said, you're my manager, if I did it, I'd say, all right, but I'm going to be vocal in your career. So we're going to do this like Brock and, what's his name, Paul Heyman. I'm going WWE style.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You may get sick of me, but trust me, I will find a way to keep you in the news and make you dough. That's what I would do.
Careful. Remember, he was saying he'll buy anything. So you may walk out.
Sign a new contract. Like, hey,
done.
So right there. So
I mean, you guys do.
I just don't know if Stitch really showed up. Like he goes, hey, I heard the show. I'd be like, oh no, chill out a little bit here.
Would you try and sell him an extended warranty?
Well, no. You know what's gonna happen
for
is
an extra $5,000.
If you give me 25%, I'm gonna really manage it. No, but you know what? We're going to get this thing going with the advertising goes, and I'm going to get some experience. Some doors are going to close on me, but that sales thing's going to come out because I had sales experience back in the day. It's going to come out, and I'm telling you.
Trick somebody into some shit.
No. I'm going to make Goes and I a lot of money with the advertising, with these ideas. Just, now we have some pretty slick cameras. When was the last time you were here?
It's been a while. I did peep that out when I first got in. I'm like, oh, okay, damn, they got the dual monitor. So is the green like what's on the screen now?
The red one is live. So that's what they're
the red one's
right
live.
Now.
Oh, see, I thought it was the other way around. Oh, okay.
Switch it backwards.
Hey, look at you. Yeah.
Right. So
stepping your shit up.
It's tightening things up, and I'm telling you, now we're on Facebook, now we're on YouTube, along with Sirius, along with iTunes, along with Stitcher. It's just SoundCloud. So it's going to continue to go, and I'm telling you that experience. One day, I don't know if a fighter will ever trust me, or a notable. Doesn't have to be a fighter or a notable, but I think I can get this thing done. If this show runs its course or Ghost fires me or something like that. I don't know.
All right. I mean, I like it, I'm trying to get into more of it too, up until this point in my career, I've just been focusing more on my skills and I don't give a fuck about the social media and you hear me saying, I don't give a fuck about a fan really. I've been more so worried about my skills and getting to that top level. But now I'm I'm gonna try and bring it around and especially that's kind of like my New Year's. I don't do New Year's resolution, but it's kind of like I'm taking care of this kid outside, so he's gonna start doing some shit for me. And
you're his manager?
No. He fucking lives with me.
Who's his manager?
Me. Me, I guess. Apparently, I'm not his
manager.
manager.
The part where I asked him if he was his manager.
I'm not his manager, but I'm his manager. If that makes sense,
He's legit, right? We've called his fights tough enough.
So
maybe I'll debut with Keith Lee.
He has that poise about him where I've seen
he's
where
real calm.
Gotten in trouble. He just battles right through it.
Yeah, we've called like 3 of his fights now. Tough enough.
He's gonna be
still undefeated, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. So so me and him are gonna start doing more stuff and actually like maybe start doing like a vlog or some shit like that. I see Joe Lozon had that vlog and it's actually pretty successful. And Dennis
Lozon's
did
smart,
kind of the same
man.
deal.
I think he made a lot out of his career.
I ain't gonna lie, yeah, he's
some stuff.
I had to give him some respect, like earlier, like I kind of always thought he did the shit wrong just because he, gets beat the fuck up, and he's like happy with it. But he's doing the shit right.
If here's the thing, and I can't speak for Joe. I don't know if this is true or not, but if I was in Joe's position and I won, I think he's had about 20 fights. He's probably won about 13, lost 7. Is that fair? I would. This is what I would say if you told me, hey, that Maverick style maybe cost you this and that. I'd say yeah, but I want to give the fans a show. Because at this point, I've already got the 7 losses. So I might as well build off that and trick y'all's ass and say,
I think that's what
I did it for the fans and I sacrificed myself and the wins and losses don't matter, But if you're 18-2, then at that point you start saying, you look at guys like I'm a safe bet and whatever.
I feel like Cerrone kind of did that same, kind of going on that same path too. And it's not just because of his fight. I thought he did it a while ago. He realized he ain't never gonna be that champ and like that dominant champ. So he's like, fuck it, I might as well just keep fighting and fight as many times as I can, make as much money as I can. And if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. I can respect it. That kind of approach, kind of seems like Nate Diaz kind of takes that same approach, and eventually a big one will come through. Maybe like for Cerrone, a big one will come through. But, you're right. Once you get into that, 4-5 losses, then it's like, fuck it, might as well.
Valentina goes, I bet you a lot of Peru was watching because she reps Peru now. She lives there. She's originally from Kyrgyzstan. She moved to South America. But a lot of countries, especially Latin countries, will get behind a fighter. But I think a lot of fighters in the U.S. could do themselves a little bit more. Like, if I was George Masvidal, I'd be talking about the 305 or Miami a lot and just seeing if a city can get behind you. I mean, you're not going to be Dwayne Wade or Dan Marino, but I'm telling you, if you start doing this early and then you make it and become a world champion, then there's a little bit of that history of you didn't just, now you're repping the 305. You've been doing it for a while. And he seems to be proud of it. He can play Cuba. He can play Peru because the dad's Cubano and the mom's Peruvian. He can play the 305. He can play the street part.
He plays the Scarface angle.
The Scarface angle?
That's pretty fun.
So I think that you have to add something to just your existence.
Jorge's smart, I think Jorge's been smart in the game. He's had a couple tough ones and a couple, close fights where the UFC doesn't seem like they've really been able to get behind them, you know what I mean? The UFC is very selective on because you can do as much marketing yourself as you want, but it's really not going to make a difference in the long run, you know what I mean?
So where do you stand out,
Kevin? Well, for me, I think the UFC is missing the ball on it. I can see where they're coming from because I'm realistic, you know what I mean? They don't see much value in the black market. They just don't, They're pushing into Mexico. They're pushing into Russia. They're pushing.
But John Jones got to push.
Yeah, but John Jones isn't going to hit the black market the way, somebody like Rampage would. You know what I mean? Back in the day, they missed the ball with Rampage. They could have taken Rampage and really, got the thing rolling. But, with me, I think that's a market that I can hit is that black market. And
Detroit. Nobody really represents Detroit,
Nobody represents Detroit. Nobody represents Philly. Nobody represents Chicago. Atlanta. You got all these major cities that they're kind of missing the ball on. And I think they just don't feel like, like I say it all the time. Like Al Heyman thought the same thing with Floyd Mayweather. When Floyd Mayweather wanted to go that route and kind of play up to the hip hop and the money and really just capture the black audience. Like Al Heyman wasn't having it. He'd rather stick with Golden Boy and just get the Mexicans behind him. So eventually the UFC will break through that. And that's why you have guys like Tyrone kind of complaining about it a little bit. Some people don't, understand where he's coming from, but that's just because you're not in the situation. You know what I mean? So they're just missing the ball on it. You got Tyrone, guy from Ferguson, and he's fighting over in New York. You know what I mean? He's not even fighting in Brooklyn. They should have had him fight on the Brooklyn card. that would have made more sense. They should have him fight in Chicago, stuff like that. Like he can be marketed in a lot of other ways than what he is. And I think he's starting to get frustrated with it. I'm not necessarily frustrated with it at this point because I'm still building, but I think eventually it could get to that point. You know what I'm saying? So
you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We'll take this last break, and then we'll start off with Brian from Boston. And if you want to join in on the queue, it's 866-522-2846, and then we'll finish out this discussion because it's very interesting. I want to talk to Kevin about his fight with Francisco Trinaldo, which takes place at UFC Fight Night 106. Did I say that right? Yeah, UFC Fight Night 106, Belfort versus Gastelum, March 11th in Fortaleza, Brazil. So we're literally 6 weeks away.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I don't know if
having fun with it.
If we call it a quick camp or if you already knew something was cooking or what. But
no, I already know.
It'll be the 14-2 Lee versus 21-4 Trinaldo, and both guys are on a real good roll in the lightweight division. We'll be right back.
Listen, baby. Don't even waste your tears on that insensitive.
Charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're coming down this home stretch here. Been a lot of fun here with Kevin Lee. We've been talking UFC fight on Fox 23, but he's also got a fight at UFC Fight Night 106.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
bummed out because I gave Danny 10 songs via Goes, and the one I wanted to hear the most, we didn't hear it.
What, Backstreet Boys?
No.
I played that one.
No, it wasn't Backstreet Boy. I guess I deleted it, but it was the one.
I have them.
Do you have
Late
them?
Night
Name
with
them off.
George and Goes.
Let's see. There is.
This is the one that's been on my mind all weekend. I can't get rid of the tune because I posted it on Instagram. Just
If
to
It
let
Isn't
everyone
Love.
know. That one.
I thought he did play it, didn't he?
I don't think he played that one. You didn't play that one, right, Dan?
Played that first. That was literally the first song I played.
Did he really?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Told you I have a bad memory.
Going into the first break.
Hey, Kevin.
First song.
This is the part where you'll hate me out of the 2 hours.
Okay.
You're 14-2 overall.
Yep.
Damn, if you didn't lose the Santos.
I know, bro.
You'd be 15-1 with a 8-fight win streak. and then at the beginning of your career, a 7-fight win streak.
Listen, I mean,
and then I know. You're an awesome fighter.
But at the same
You'll
time,
recover. But then the
this
Ronaldo fight. I mean,
it's a big fight. You know, it's a big fight, and it's going to
literally be in that mix. I mean, look what everyone's saying about Ferguson and
it's going to be a damn big year for me. You know, so I'm going to take this fight. I'm gonna whoop Ronaldo's ass. You know, we've already. I've known about the fight for 2 weeks now, so it's 8-week training camp. They're just not announcing it, but I'm gonna take this fight, whoop his ass. We're gonna fight in July. I'll probably end up fighting like the loser of Khabib and Tony. Hopefully it's Khabib, and then we'll fight a number 1 contender at the end of the year. So either way, at the end of the year, I'll be on a 6-fight win streak. 10 in my last 11 or so, something like that. Yeah. So, and it's one hiccup. It's
still an awesome record, man.
I mean, but
I always say anybody that wins,
one hiccup.
Anybody that wins 8 out of 10 fights, which you did, you win. Wait, your first 10 fights, you went 9-1. I always say people, 8. If you're 80% in your first 10 fights, you're on your way. If you're 90%, you may be championship caliber. You actually were 90%.
And now, and I look at it and I go, you look at it versus because everybody wants to compare you always to the top guys. They want to compare you like to McGregor. Whenever somebody hears about me fighting, they're like, "Oh, are you gonna be at McGregor level or something?" And it's like, I'm 24 and McGregor's 28. He's been fighting professionally for 10 years. He started professionally when he was 18. I've only been 5 years. Fighting professionally. So. At 24, he wasn't in the position I'm in.
Are we gonna have to pay you £5 to do interviews? If you make it
yeah, eventually. Give me another 5 years. Give me another 5 years, he will. But
we could do it. We've been told we could lose a few pounds.
At 24, he wasn't even in the UFC. He didn't get in until he was 20. And he had.
I was also thinking
about less
Valentina.
fights and more losses than me.
Valentina hadn't lost that fight to Nunes the first time. Mm-hmm. I mean, she may be Nunes right now. Yeah. And Nunes may be her chasing her.
It's a crazy sport.
She came close to being Nunes last night.
Sport.
Huh? She came close to winning that fight.
I know.
The third round was going her way.
It's incredible how just one little trip up just sets you back 6 months, anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. You're in a stacked division. Valentina's not in a stacked division. But, the Trinaldo fight. So, anyway.
It's going to be a great fight. Like
you
I said,
seem to be a hard worker. You don't really skip training sessions or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it boils down to is when you get to those like the early fights, I think anyone can smoke anyone if whatever.
Because it's skill.
But you get here and the skill's so even. It's like who did all their strength and conditioning? Yep. Who didn't cheat on a meal? Who's been getting their sleep? Who's been blocking out all the negative stuff? Out of their minds, all the stuff that accompanies it. Because it can really make that much of a difference.
And I mean that's what it's about. It's a game of inches. This is a crazy sport that you live in. Like if you fucking 1 inch off, it can change your whole life. So
that's where GSP was perfect.
Yeah.
It's like he seemed to just, be focused. No one deterred him. Even when people said, you ain't knocking no one out, you ain't finishing anyone, he didn't give a fuck. He just grinded them out, and now he's an all-time great.
And you have to realize that as a fighter, that, like, I'll talk shit about a lot of guys, but there's a lot of people in the game that I have a lot of respect for, and you, like, won't really hear me talk a lot of, like if I talk shit about a guy, it's not going to be against what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll talk shit about Conor all the time, but I have a lot of respect for like what he does and what he's done, and he's shown that it can be done. So like I said, I think I'm in a better position now than when he was at 24. I'm in a better position now than when Mayweather was 24. So I'm optimistic, and I'm looking forward to this year. This is gonna be a big year for me. So like I said, we'll go out, we'll whoop this guy's ass, we'll come back, fight here in July. And, then I'm top 5. We'll have a number 1 contender fight at some point.
Let's talk to Brian in Boston to finish things up. What's up, Brian?
Hey, boys.
Hey.
I have a thought. I watched a ton of fights over the weekend. I actually suffered through a lot of that Bellator crap on Friday night. Over the past 20 years, it seems like MMA has got things more under control than boxing as boxing starts to slip away. But the one thing that I still think that boxing does better than MMA is throw the towel in when one of their fighters gets killed.
Yep.
That I have his name written down. I think it's Aaron Darrow on Friday night. That Ripples, man, he was pounding that kid.
Yeah.
And and Kevin, you can attest to this. You guys are too tough for your own good. Mm-hmm. You're not going to quit. Mm-hmm. You need somebody to quit for you. And the beating that kid took.
I thought
I felt the foul should have been thrown in the second round, and then they never should have let that fighter come out in the third round. You got to step up, and you got to play dad when it comes to that.
I thought the same thing with Cerrone. I don't see why Greg Jackson didn't stop that fight. Maybe because he just thinks Cerrone is too tough. But when he was sitting in the corner, and I think Greg Jackson knew, because Greg Jackson was trying to get him to repeat what he was saying, and Cerrone was just looking through him. And he repeated what he said, but he didn't understand. He said, "What are you gonna do?" He was like, "Move my head." He was totally out of it. I thought a guy like Greg Jackson, I'm starting to lose a little respect for Greg Jackson over these past couple of years. So, he should have threw in the towel. If it was me, if that was my friend, if Cerrone was a good friend of mine, I would throw in the towel. He was out of it.
And we discussed this with Big John. The process would have been in some states. I'm not sure about Denver. The cornerman would have to let the official know, who would let the referee know, and then the towel would come in. So just the towel coming in from the coach doesn't mean the fight's over. Just if anybody's listening, that's kind of how it goes down. Brian, we have about 1 minute, so wrap up.
Okay, I can tell you right now, though, if a towel comes flying in the octagon,
that fight
John McCarthy's stopping that fight.
Yeah.
It's just stopped. I know technically, George, you're right about the rules, but once that towel is airborne, that fight's over. So I would just like to see the corners protect you guys more and stop yourself from being so goddamn tough. And with that, I'll tap out. See you guys.
All right, we'll see you. Kevin, thanks for stopping by, man.
It's always a pleasure to be here, my man.
You have
always a pleasure.
A lot of success with this next fight. Follow him on Twitter at Motown Phenom.
Yes, sir.
And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Motown Phenom. I see you on the Snapchat.
I might be doing a little mini vlog series coming up, maybe. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Word.
Instagram is the best.
Instagram. There you go. All right, he fights Francisco Trinaldo on March 11th, UFC Fight Night 106. Tomorrow, we are joined by Anthony Njokwani in studio. George Masvidal will also be on the show, working on a few others as well. But I won't announce them yet because I don't want to jinx them. So for Danny and Goes and Kevin, I'm George. Have a nice day. Go out and be champions.
Be the same again.